Well, hello everyone and welcome to Unleashed. I'm Carl Metzler and I want to ask you a question to get things started this week. When you hear the term herding dogs, what comes to mind? Well, my guess is, like many of us, you're thinking of a big farm with lots of livestock and maybe border collies or Australian shepherds running all over the place. Well, this week we want to introduce you to Jordyn and Josh Kelly, who have a little bit of a different idea of what herding dogs can be used for. Right here on Unleashed.
There are over 86 million dogs in the United States, but only a select few are considered elite working or sporting dogs. From police and military canines to hunting and sporting dogs and everything in between, meet the dogs your dog aspires to be. Get ready to see man's best friend in a whole new light. This is Unleashed.
I'm Jordyn Kelly, and my husband and I operate Working Aussies Homestead, and we raise Australian shepherds just outside of Dunn, North Carolina. We started our homestead 3.5 years ago. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. From our research, the only thing that we found that would help was really changing our diet. And so we purchased our home with 1.24 acres. We started raising our own chicken for eggs and meat. We started raising kune pigs, meat rabbits, turkeys. We've had ducks before, and then dairy goats, and now sheep. So with our animals, we do rotational grazing because we want to not only eat the best animals that we can, but we also want to heal our property a bit. With rotational grazing, we're not overgrazing a specific spot on our property, but it allows the seed bank to kind of be opened up and for more growth to come out of the ground and make it a lot more diverse. Our chickens, our pigs, our goats, and our sheep all rotate on our property. They don't stay in one spot for more than maybe 2 weeks at the most. I feel like a lot of people think you have to have acres and acres to grow enough food for, a family, but you really don't. In 2020, we raised over 800 pounds worth of chicken on our property, on our little 1.24 acres, and that wasn't even using all of it. That was just using the front section. The key to that is the rotational grazing. When you're moving animals, sometimes if they're super hungry and you have a bucket of the best food ever, they'll follow and it'll go as planned and as you hope. But most of the time it doesn't. That's where our dogs really come into play. We could spend an hour or more chasing animals around trying to move them. Having dogs that are willing and able to help with the moving just makes it so much easier, makes it a lot more efficient. We're not spending an hour or more moving animals. It might be 20 minutes. Working dogs can be beneficial for a number of reasons, especially on a small homestead. But for us, the biggest reason is efficiency and time management. We do a lot on our homestead and off, so every minute of our time is very valuable. And so every minute that our dogs are able to save us because of their working ability and their willingness to partner with us to move those animals makes the biggest difference.
I mean, rotational grazing is based on the principle of you're stewarding the land well, right? Even if you're just moving them one paddock over, opening the fence for the next fence, being able to have a dog that can go in, move the livestock, and just keep them there is definitely a game changer. Having a partner, especially a dog that can listen to you and you can walk away to get whatever else you need to make it work, that's where the magic happens, and that's where the rotational grazing comes into play. And what we get out of that is great results as far as more forage, better soil quality, and even like better relationships with the dogs. Because they've done their job, we've done our job, everybody's happy, it's a good day.
For your active dog, not just any dog food will do. It takes special care and nutrition to support their energy to work and play. That's why we made Kinetic Performance Dog Food. Each Kinetic formula is made with 3 animal proteins and no fillers like corn, wheat, or soy. This lets you feed less and still get more energy, faster recovery, and better weight maintenance. If health and performance matter to you, give Kinetic a try. We build it for our dogs, but you'll love it for yours.
When it comes to elite canine and handler training, the best of the best turn to one place, Von Lick Kennels. Von Lick is the premier full-service canine training center and detection service provider in the world. Their world-renowned training methods and experienced training staff produce the best canine and handler training available anywhere. When only the best will do, join over 5,000 law enforcement, government, and civilian agencies who count on Von Lick Kennels.
Are you tired of the same old toolbox that doesn't keep your gear organized, clean, or protected? Then you need a cam locker. Our exclusively designed aluminum toolboxes have hefty T-handles, insulated lids, and feature the cam locker system, the toughest aluminum toolbox lock. Proudly manufactured in the USA, Cam Locker will be the best and last toolbox you will ever own. So keep your tools and gear secure with a Cam Locker toolbox, the key to security.
We're called Working Aussies Homestead for a reason. We use Australian Shepherds. We have 7 plus 9 puppies right now. They don't all work. We do have 2 that are rescues, and they're deaf double merle Australian Shepherds, but they just are kind of there to run and play with the pack. But the 4 that do work really well for us. I think Australian Shepherds for us really started with a love for herding breeds. Josh grew up with several border collies, and I grew up with a border collie blue heeler mix. So we've always loved the herding breeds, the dogs that are a little bit more active, the dogs that also seek that partnership. And when Josh was in college, he really wanted to find a red border collie, and instead he found a blue merle Australian Shepherd. Shortly after we started dating, we added Piper to our family. She's a red tri Australian Shepherd, and they were our life. They were there for our engagement photos, they were there for our wedding, we took them with us on our honeymoon. Having dogs that were so integrated into our lives, we were hooked. After 2, now we have 7. It's kind of like that thing. They're like potato chips, you can't have just one, but you also just can't have just 2 either. They're just such a fun breed to have in our lives. They fit in really well because we are super active people.
I mean, think about a kid that can pretty much do anything, right? You have a kid that can play a musical instrument and sports and everything else. This is what I would consider very similar. We have dogs that not only do stuff around here, but help us with the chores. They'll get inside the wheelbarrow and help us carry, hay to the different paddocks. But I mean, across the board, you've got dock diving, you've got the ability to do agility, you have service dogs, we've got a bunch in our breeding program from previous owners that are just all over.
Having a breed that's just so willing and wanting to be integrated into every aspect of your life. You get up and leave the room and all 7 are going with you wherever you're going, doesn't matter. They're there for it. And that's one of the main reasons why we love the breed.
We just have a lot of people ask us, like, what's it like to have a dog that's trained versus not trained? What is it like to have something? And it just saves time. Having the ability to save time in the long run really helps you. This is what we tell people. It really helps you out, because when you're running a farm or you're running a homestead and you're having everyday life and you're cooking everything from scratch and whatever else you have going on, especially now that we have a baby, having something that can shave that much time off, even if it is a dog, is well worth it in the long run.
So most people, when you ask them to think about a herding dog, they might think of the movie Babe, where you have your border collies and they're sent out into a huge field that has a huge flock of sheep, and they go out and make these wide sweeps and bring the sheep in, and everything's super fast paced. We're a little bit different because we only have an acre and a quarter, and yet we have plenty of work for our dogs to be fulfilled and live a healthy life doing what they love to do. And so I would encourage anybody with any amount of property, whether you have a half acre or whether you have 500,000 acres, these dogs would be so beneficial for you for a number of reasons, but primarily because of the efficiency that they would bring to your homestead or farm. Every moment of our time here on this homestead is extremely important, and so the ability that we have to use our dogs and help us manage our time better and be more efficient and be able to do more on our homestead simply because we have dogs that are here to help. Any place, any property, anybody would benefit from having a working dog like that if they have livestock.
They definitely make things a whole lot easier. The amount of stuff that I can get done with their help, you really don't realize it until you don't have them. If I was to go out and do any kind of moves or even just like normal chores, I'm not catching a chicken by myself. I'm not catching an animal by myself most of the time. But if an animal gets out, it's great to be able to have them here to cover our butts when I can't do something by myself. It's kind of like a passion thing. Like obviously their instinct is to do that just like our passions are to do something that we really like. And so seeing them get to do what they really want to do, it's just a completely different dog.
Feel like the season just got started? Well, there's no reason to stop hunting now. At Highland Hunting, you can enjoy a great upland experience through the end of March. Located in southeast Iowa, we have over 1,200 acres of diverse upland habitat with the best flying and wildest birds you'll find at any upland outfitter. Our incredible staff and great accommodations let us show you a true Iowa upland experience at Highland Hunting. Give us a call and schedule your next adventure today.
This winter, enjoy more of Ocean City for a little less. Enjoy seaside escapes and coastal cuisine. Enjoy small crowds and big fun. Enjoy rising with the tide and leave all worries behind. Find your reason to smile all winter long in Ocean City, Maryland.
No matter what you feed, sometimes your dog needs a little help to keep them at the top of their game. For some dogs, it can even mean the chance to just live a normal, healthy life. Our Kinetic supplements are formulated to meet specific needs to get and keep your dog at optimal health and performance. Your dog will love them, and you'll be amazed at the difference they make. If your dog needs an extra boost, give Kinetic a try. We build it for our dogs, and you'll love it for yours.
Herding breeds are definitely a different type of dog on their own. They run differently. They want to help control the environment, control the chaos in the environment. For us, with a homestead and with livestock, it's a good thing. We want there to be order on the homestead. We don't want animals running all over the place. So having a dog that also wants the quiet and the peace is very important to us and beneficial. The difference between a herding breed and another breed is that perfect demonstration of having a dog that doesn't want to actually touch the bird, but wants the bird to go to a specific spot or in a specific direction. And it's incredible, especially to watch our Australian Shepherds work our chickens, because they're a very delicate breed or delicate species overall, where one wrong move and my dogs can kill the bird. And so it's super important for them to understand the rules of, we're not going to put our mouth on the bird. But I can't train another breed of dog to do that. I can't train a dog to not chase a chicken and instead hurt it. That's an instinct that's completely bred into them and has been for generations. Herding is not something that you teach the dog to do. The concept of herding in today's time, especially if you're going to training or if you're going to trials, herding trials, it's not that you're training the dog to do its job. What you're doing is you're just teaching the rules of what the dog is allowed to do versus what's not okay.
It's a hunting game, and there's rules to learn. And, you know, as we have developed the dogs over the years, teaching the rules of the hunt is the main key factor. You can't change the instinct, but having that instinct and then being able to train that instinct is really what's important, because without it, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to be able to get anything under control.
We always joke with people when they ask about how smart Australian Shepherds are, and we'll say it's not always about them outsmarting us. It is us outsmarting them and having to think 3 steps ahead of our dogs.
You have to kind of outwit the dog sometimes, but you also have to understand as a handler, like, sometimes they do know more than you, and their instinct will kick in.
It's knowing that they are such problem solvers that they can pretty much be compared to the intelligence of a toddler. So understanding that they're going to be natural problem solvers, that's actually something that we really kind of nurture in our puppies. And a lot of people would probably think, well, why are you trying to nurture problem solving in puppies? If they're going to go out and be a working dog, they have to be able to problem solve. Like, that is one of the most critical parts of their being and succeeding in their jobs. With puppies, you know, you work on setting up roadblocks or obstructions to their meal or to food or to a toy. You know, you can change that up X, Y, and Z based on the age of the puppy. But later on in life, like with our chickens on our homestead, I need my dogs to be able to problem solve and think outside of the box of, okay, how can we get this animal from point A to point B if the animal is not being responsive like we would hope it would. And so sometimes my dogs will hold the livestock on the fence, and sometimes my dogs will take the livestock and go and put them back up by themselves. It just kind of depends on how the livestock is responding to the dog, and the dog has to be smart enough and aware enough to be able to problem solve with that.
It's fun to work with this breed just because they are so smart. They can make decisions on their own faster than I can that might be even better. So that's where teaching those rules come in, because if I don't have a correct answer, I'm hoping that they do.
For your active dog, not just any dog food will do. It takes special care and nutrition to support their energy to work and play. That's why we made Kinetic Performance Dog Food. Each Kinetic formula is made with 3 animal proteins and no fillers like corn, wheat, or soy. This lets you feed less and still get more energy, faster recovery, and better weight maintenance. If health and performance matter to you, give Kinetic a try. We build it for our dogs, but you'll love it for yours.
Your grandmother's fine china, those trendy sneakers, your collection of hand-carved duck decoys. Auto Owners protects your home. Because, well, somebody should. That's simple human sense.
Ask Safari Insurance in Cincinnati if auto owners make sense for you.
Oh, now you do your job.
I need you to get me out of the country, out of here, away.
All in exchange for a sip of coffee?
Yeah, it's Black Rifle Coffee. Let's try some.
Later, loser!
Why don't you head over to blackriflecoffee.com and get yourself set up with a coffee club subscription.
We've been raising Australian Shepherds since 2018 when we had our first litter. I've been very excited about the litter we just had. They were born on New Year's Eve. The work and training that I've put into Ray, their mom, the bond that her and I have is different than the rest of our dogs because she brings not only beauty in brains, but she is extremely sweet and very versatile in what she's willing to do. Having really researched and paired Ray with the stud that we picked, you know, we wanted them to be the perfect example of the Australian Shepherd. So you have the beauty and the brains, but you also have dogs that are easy to live with, but that also want to go out and work their hearts out. So although a lot of it is instinct, and these dogs were bred to herd and naturally have that ability in them. In fact, you see that when they're young. We'll actually test it when they're about 5 weeks old. The primary reason that herding works is the pressure, whether that's pressure from their eye, having a tie-dyed dog like a border collie where they're staring down the stock more and making that direct eye contact, or you have a loose-eyed dog like the Australian Shepherd where it's more of the body pressure. Our dogs can get right up next to the livestock and work them, which works perfect for our small homestead because we only have an acre and a quarter. It requires our dogs to be a lot more versatile and athletic, be able to think a lot quicker, but then also move quicker too. And all of our dogs need to be able to perform their jobs well in order for our homestead to still be efficient and for them to actually get the job done. Just as food is fuel for anybody, it's definitely more important for athletes. And we really view our dogs as athletes because I ask a lot of them when we're working. And it's not necessarily that I personally ask a lot, but our livestock asks a lot. Honestly, I think going back to the main reason why we started our homestead with me getting sick and learning that really the only way for me to get better was to change our diet. So really when we started our homestead, we also tuned in not only to our health and the health of our gut and eating better foods, but also what could we do that would be better for our dogs. When I had heard about Kinetic, I had heard about it through the Instinctive Australian Shepherd podcast, and hearing an Australian Shepherd owner talk to Dave and talk to John about their focus on changing the game when it comes to feeding working dogs and not compromising on the ingredients just because it's cheaper, that's when we decided to give Kinetic a try. And from the first month that I started feeding them, I saw shinier coats, I saw healthier teeth and gums. We didn't have the issues of diarrhea or having to clean kennels on a regular basis. And so being able to feed this food that not only I don't have digestive issues with my dogs anymore, but then they're able to go outside and do their job better and be in better shape and have more energy and be willing to work all day long. My dogs don't miss a beat. And I know that that's largely because of the nutrition that we give them. It doesn't matter whether it's pouring rain all day and we stay inside, or whether we go outside and work all day outside in the heat, there's no difference to our dogs. And we don't see a difference in their health. We don't see a difference in their energy level because of that. And I know that that's largely because of the nutrition that they get from the food that we feed.
You know, one of my favorite things about this show is meeting people like Jordyn and Josh at the Working Aussie Homestead. It's always interesting to see the unique ways that people are using dogs, and I hope that you're finding some inspiration in their stories. Now, if you want to learn more about Jordyn, Josh, and the Working Aussie Homestead, I encourage you to check out their YouTube channel, where they share all kinds of information about their small homesteading journey and how they use their pack of Australian Shepherds to help them along the way each and every day. You can also follow along with their story on their social media channels on Facebook and Instagram. But that's all the time we've got left this week. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time on Unleashed.